Chapter 2. Off to the Enchanted Wood. The children ate their breakfast quickly. Mother told them to make sandwiches for themselves and to take a small chocolate cake from the cupboard. "You can take some donuts too," she said. "And there are apples in that dish over there. When you come home, I'll bake some potatoes in the oven, and you can eat them with butter and cheese." "Oh, Mother, we will be hungry," said Jo at once. "Let's hurry up with the sandwiches. We want to start as soon as possible." "Now, be home by 6 o'clock, or I shall worry," said Mother. "Look after your cousin, Jo." "Yes, I will," promised Jo. At last, everything was ready. Jo packed the food into a leather bag and slung it over his shoulder. Then the four of them set off to the Enchanted Wood. It didn't take them long to get there. A narrow ditch was between the lane and the wood. "You've got to jump over the ditch, Rick," said Jo. They all jumped over. Rick stood there when he was in the wood. "What a strange noise the leaves on the trees make," he said. Looking into the inside, she saw several coats hanging up, mostly long fur coats. There's nothing Lucy liked so much as the smell and feel of the fur. She immediately stepped into the wardrobe and got in among the coats and rubbed her face against them, leaving the door open, of course, because she knew it was very foolish to shut oneself into any wardrobe. Soon she went further in and found that there was a second row of coats hanging up behind the first one. It was almost quite dark in there, and she kept her arms stretched out in front of her so as not to bump her face into the back of the wardrobe. She took a step further in, then 2 or 3 steps, always expecting to feel the woodwork against the tip of her fingers. But she could not feel it. "This must be a simply enormous wardrobe," thought Lucy, going still further in and pushing the soft folds of the coats aside to make room for her. Then she noticed that there was something crunching under her feet. "I wonder if that's more mothballs," she thought, stooping down to feel it with her hand. But instead of feeling the hard, smooth wood of the floor of the wardrobe, she felt something soft and powdery and extremely cold. "This is very queer," she said, and went on a step or 2 further. Next moment, she found what was rubbing against her face and hands was no longer soft fur, but something hard and rough and even prickly. "Why, it is just like branches of trees!" exclaimed Lucy. And then she thought there was a light ahead of her, not a few inches away where the back of the wardrobe ought to have been, but a long way off. Something cold and soft was falling on her. A moment later, she found that she was standing in the middle of a wood at night time, with snow under her feet and snowflakes falling through the air. Lucy felt a little frightened, but she felt very inquisitive and excited as well. She looked back over her shoulder, and there, between the dark tree trunks, she could still see the open doorway of the wardrobe, and even catch a glimpse of the empty room from which she had set out. She had, of course, left the door open, for she knew that it is a very silly thing to shut oneself into a wardrobe. "He will not remain a boy forever. Let him grow to manhood, and sooner or late he will seek revenge himself upon my own sons." Words of these plans soon reached the ears of the Dowager Queen, filling her with terror. Fearing for her sons, Queen Alicent went to the Iron Throne upon her knees to plead for peace. This time the Queen in Chains put forth the notion that the realm might be divided. Rhaenyra would keep King's Landing and the Crown Lands, the North, the Vale of Arryn, all the lands watered by the Trident and the Isles. To Aegon II would go the Stormlands, the Westerlands and the Reach, to be ruled from Old Town. Rhaenyra rejected her stepmother's proposal with scorn. "Your sons might have had places of honour at my court if they had kept faith," her grace declared. "They have sought to rob me of my birthright, and the blood of my sweet sons is on their hands." "Bastard blood shed at war," Alicent replied. "My son's sons were innocent boys cruelly murdered. How many more must die to slake your thirst for vengeance?" The Dowager Queen's words only fanned the fire of Rhaenyra's wrath. "I will hear no more lies," she warned. "Speak again of bastard and I will have your tongue out." Epilogue. When Lenore Dove comes to me now, she's not angry or dying. So I think she's forgiven me. She's grown older with me, her face etched with fine lines, her hair touched with grey. Like she'd been living her life beside me as years passed, instead of lying in her grave. Still so rare and radiant. I fulfilled my promise about the reaping, or at least lent a hand. But she says I can't come to her yet. I have to look after my family. I first saw the girl at the Hob when she was just a baby. Burdock was so proud of her. He toted her around everywhere. After he died in that mine explosion, she started coming alone, trading the odd squirrel or rabbit. Tough and smart, her hair in 2 braids then, reminding me for all the world of Llewellyn McCoy, my sweetheart of old. And after she volunteered for the games, that nickname couldn't help but slip out. I didn't want to let them in, her and Peter. But the walls of a person's heart are not impregnable, not if they have ever known love. That's what Lenore Dove says anyway. I didn't want to have anything to do with their memorial book after the war. What use? What point? To relive all the loss? But when Burdock's page came up, I had to mention him showing me the grave, and I felt compelled to tell him about Mace Lee Donner, former owner of the Mockingjay pin, and how Sid loved the stars. Before I knew it, they all came tumbling out. Family, tributes, friends, comrades in arms, everybody. Even my love. I finally told our story. A few days after that, Katniss showed up with an old basket filled with goose eggs. Not to eat, to hatch. I raided a few different nests so they can breed all right. Never mind that we had roast goose for dinner. She's not an easy person. She's like me, Peter always says. But she was smarter than me, or luckier. She's the one who finally kept the sun from rising. Peter fashioned some kind of incubator, and when the eggs hatched, Mine was the first place those gooselings saw. Sometimes they just graze on the green, but on fine days we've been known to wander over the meadow. Lenore Dove likes it best there, and I'm content where she's content. Like the geese, we really did mate for life. I'm not sure I'll be here in the old there before much longer. My liver's wrecked and I only dry out when the train's late. I drink differently these days though. Less to forget, more out of habit. When my time comes, it comes. But I've no idea when that'll be. I know one thing though. The capital can never take Lenore Dove from me again. They never really did in the first place. Nothing you can take from me was ever worth keeping. And she is the most precious thing I've ever known. When I tell her that, she always says, "I love you like all fire." And I reply, "I love you like all fire too." The end.